Good afternoon. I'm Cristina. Matthew's already given me as much of an introduction as I could hope to do for myself. But before I get started, I wanted to say, hearing everyone's presentations before this has been really enlightening, and it's given me a lot of optimism, because what I'm going to explain to you now has been the process in creating an ontology from scratch. And it's been a lot of work, and we've seen the work and the products of the people who are already at the point where they can make the inferences and do the querying. We're not there yet. We hope to be there. So this is the why we needed it, a little bit of background, what we have so far, and I will echo the call for collaboration. Anyone who sees a place where their ontology fits in, please be in touch with me or any one of my team, and we will gladly make that happen. So I work at the International Food Policy Research Institute, IFPRI. It does not roll off the tongue. We have our strategic framework here. I don't expect you to read the whole thing, but the point is that we have over 500 employees all over the world who work together to provide research-based policy solutions to sustainably reduce hunger and malnutrition. That's our mission. We have our pillars with a cross-cutting gender theme, and it spans from the production side of food, which we call crops. In the conversations of trying to figure out how to tie this really into foods, it was very clear and evident to my colleagues and I that, of course, what we do is food. Maize corn is food, you eat it. But we focus on it from crop side and the farm side. So it really helped for me to think of it from, we are the producer, we focus more on the producer. But for the producer and the consumer, food and crops are the same thing, just from a different angle. So we work from the production side, from the crop side, through farming systems, into agricultural methods, trade policies, and even into the implementation and improving health and nutrition programs. IFPRI is part of the CGIAR, as you just saw, the Consultative Group for International Agricultural Research. There are 15 centers. Biodiversity is another one of them. Biodiversity and IFPRI are a little bit different in that we do more general overarching work, where most of the centers have a specific focus, whether it be livestock or a specific crop. So there's a maize center, there's wheat, there's potato, there's forestry, there's fisheries. And these are the 15 programs. So there's 15 centers that work on 15 programs, and the centers work together. IFPRI leads the two at the bottom. I'm doing this right. In the bottom right corner, agriculture for nutrition and health, and policies, institutions, and markets. So together, IFPRI and the CG, the whole system, are really well positioned to help build and strengthen the information chain between the producers, so in our case, farmers, and the consumers. So the CG has an open access policy that IFPRI adheres to, because we're part of the CG. So we have this information, it's open, it's available, but how do we take advantage of it? And how do we really aim towards strengthening this information change? So this is not without its challenges and demands. So aligning the research across 15 centers and 15 programs is a lot. But it would be so helpful if you could see, if they're doing work in the same place, if it's the same project, or if two projects are doing kind of the same thing in different places, that would be applicable. If it's a similar sector, are you working with the same partners? Is this a different phase of the same program? Doing all of that and trying to align that is a massive undertaking. And right now what we have are annual reports for each program and the products of the research, so papers and data that come out. We also have the demand coming from the CG partners, governments, and donors who want timely and actionable information on technologies that can improve smallholder livelihoods and food security. So this is information on improved crop varieties, which is some of what my colleague from Biodiversity had mentioned, including breeding techniques to get there, farm and environment management practices, down to storage and processing after harvest. So our solution to this was a semantic solution. And what could we do to really get the most meaning out of the information that we already have open and accessible? So by formulating all of this data in a semantic manner, we could then do the semantic analysis that so many people have already mentioned today. So you have the querying, you have the underlying inferences, We can do text mining on existing documents. You can do the annotation, and because it's machine readable, you can work with all of the other ontologies and systems that are doing similar things. This allows us to be the owner of what we actually know. We can be the authority on what we are authoritative on. So right now, the ontology that I'll tell you guys about, it says nutrition in it because we do nutrition work. But the specifics of nutrition, we kept them very high level because we're not the experts in that. There is an expert maybe in this room, maybe somewhere else, and we want to work with them so that we can get the most information from someone whose domain specialty that is. So this semantic solution, the way that we sell it to people is that you can reduce the duplicated efforts, which then funnels down into making better programs. You get to spend your money wiser. Ultimately, it runs down from this is the problem, this is the money I gave you, this is the solution. Does it meet the need? Did I spend my money wisely? Did I spend too much of it? Should I spend more there? So by doing this kind of analysis, you also get to identify research gaps and scaling opportunities. So if this thing worked really well, maybe we should put more money into it to make it work better, to expand it. Or if this wasn't that successful, maybe we should shift gears and go in a different direction. So after these conversations, that's how we came to the Agricultural and Nutrition Technology Ontology that we like to call ANT because we love acronyms in this field. ANT started off pretty small, just going through annual reports from the 15 centers and the research programs. And it has since expanded. There's been a pretty massive effort in the last 2 years. We have about 2,000 individuals now grouped into different classes, and that hierarchy it has been ever-changing. So these are evidence-based technology examples that we've pulled from the research that the CG has done. And then my team went through, we placed it in the order that made sense to us, but then we went back and consulted the domain experts, because ultimately, I'm a librarian, I do knowledge management. The person who does soil management and fertilizers knows infinitely more than I do about it. And when he looked at it, everything he said made sense to me, but I never would have thought of it myself. So we're currently undergoing this second round of revisions. We've sent it to Bioversity to have them look through it too. So it's not live and it's not published yet, but we're hoping for the end of the year. We're just getting the little technical tweaks out, and it will be open for comments as well as collaboration. And we're trying to expand it even more. So the crop ontology, working with one of our sister centers, is a very easy place that we knew right off the bat. The fillers that we have for crops now, again, very high level. Is it maize? Is it cassava? Is it a sweet potato? We didn't go into further depth because we know that someone else had already done that. So these are two examples of what we have now. We have the IRI, which is an individual unique identifier. And then same as for this first one, the waxy cassava, and the geographic focus, so where the research was done for these specific technologies. I'll also mention there's a very fine line between a method and a technology, because a method can be a technology, but sometimes they're separate. This is another thing where it really helped to go back and talk to the researchers and exactly what it was. And that came up because this low-cost zero-till seeder that you see as the second one, it's a piece of agricultural equipment. It's a machinery. But doing a zero-till seeding and the implications that that has, that is a technology, aside from the fact that a piece of machinery is also a technology. So I have this slide up here, so you know I'm Cristina, I'm up at the top. My colleagues, Melanie and Sunho, also worked with me on this, if you'd like to get in touch with us. I will spread the word like wildfire when we get it up and live, and I would love to hear back from everybody. I wish I had more to show you at this time, but it's really exciting, and I'm really glad, thank you, Matthew, for inviting us. I think this is great, and I think that we're in a really good place. We have so many big pieces together that we can finally start to merge and meld, and it'll be really awesome.